Hello YouTubers, welcome back to another Tesla vlog with me, Alan Well Informed. So today's video is something a little different from me. I'm going to take you on a road trip outing to the seaside, specifically the east coast of England. It's a bit different to the location that we had planned at the beginning of the year, but it's a getaway in the end and we've all thoroughly enjoyed it, even more so for the kids. So I'm going to cover how much we took with us, and if we had any storage issues, why and when, where we supercharged. Plus I'll run through some of the efficiency figures, specifically as I'm fully loading the car with family travel essentials and the whole family is going to be on board. So this video is primarily aimed at those who are interested in purchasing a new car but may not have considered an electric car before, or may already be interested in a Tesla Model 3. I'm hoping the video gives you greater insight into what it's like to plan, load and just enjoy getting from A to B in an electric car. I'll also fully disclose the road trip cost and break down the efficiency figures in a digestible way. I've therefore split the video into tiny sections so you can easily go back and navigate to the section that you want to rewatch or share. Let's get into it. So the road trip day has finally come. The kids are absolutely buzzing and I'm doing my last minute packing to my wife's delight. In the end, I paid the price because I forgot my trunks, but that's completely off topic, so let's not talk about that. It looks like it rained overnight, but thankfully the rain is not forecast for the week. Will the wet car or the wet roads affect efficiency? How bad will my back seats look after 3 hours worth of road tripping? I'm hoping the kids don't make too much of a mess back here, so I'll show you how well they did at the end. Moving on to loading the boot of the car, I have two folded down deck chairs right at the back there in navy bags. The underboot storage has my Type 2 charging cables and my UMC 3-pin charger just in case of any emergencies, so I don't plan on utilising any space in here, but there is a little room should I need it. I begin to load the boot with the suitcase, the pushchair, more bags, coats, etc, and that pretty much fills the boot. But I need more space for food and drink, as well as some spare toys, for which I utilise the frunk on this occasion. I start to add the kids' blankets and I pull the armrest down the middle so they've got their own easy to reach cup holders. The kids are raring to go now as well as us, which brings me to the trip planning. So to get to where we need to be, all we need to do is punch in the postcode and the car will work out how to get there in the quickest time, including where to charge and for how long for. Here it is predicting that we'll reach the Thetford supercharger with 36% battery remaining, and if I charge for just 10 minutes I could reach my destination with 22% battery left and in under 3 hours total travel time. If I use the trip function on the car, it also displays that 36% battery arrival prediction, so we can actually monitor this during the trip to see if Tesla is over or under predicting its real life range for the road trip. Before the trip was booked, I checked with my favourite electric car related phone app, a Better Route Planner. This would help evaluate what my road trip would look like. Just apply the postcodes. I've covered the app and theory of predicting EV range using this app on my SR Plus versus long range comparison video, so this video could function as a practical evaluation as to how effective a Better Route Planner actually is in comparison to the real life case. A Better Route Planner prediction does differ ever so slightly to Tesla's prediction though. We should arrive with 40% instead of 36% state of charge. According to a Better Route Planner, we only need a 5-minute charge compared to a 10-minute charge in accordance with Tesla's navigation. The overall time difference to the trip is 11 minutes between the two simulations. Not massive, but I'm not focusing on the quickest time of arrival here. On this occasion, I want to maximise my available charge as I don't intend to charge at my destination, though I am well aware that there is free 7 kilowatt charging just a 5-minute drive away from where we're staying, just in case I need it. However, I just want a sufficient buffer so I wouldn't have to worry about charging whatsoever when I get there. Using the A Better Route Planner app, you can actually simulate the length of charging times and set a limit. So here you can see that I simulate 3 different scenarios. I simulate charging to 90% at the supercharger, then to 80% and finally to 100%. Charging speeds are much more buoyant and rapid between 0 to 80%. 80% onwards, charging speeds will actually start to taper down as it would negatively affect the battery if it sustained such a high charging speed with such a fullish battery. So if your destination requires multiple stops, you'll probably see charging go up to this 80% mark to achieve the quickest time of arrival, but to reiterate, on this particular occasion we are prioritising the percentage charge available here. Before I delve deeper, please remember to support my channel by hitting the like, subscribe and notification bell. Such a quick gesture really helps me out if you enjoy Tesla content like this. Moving on to this mystery bug. Now this isn't software related, but actually insect related. Before I left, I actually noticed this butterfly, and I thought it was pretty funky looking. It looks like it's got some eyes on its wings or something. It even let me get real close to it as well, but the closer I looked at it, I actually thought it could actually be a moth rather than a butterfly. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below, and let's let the road trip commence. It's worth noting that I'm driving mostly on autopilot, but my wife kindly took one for the team and recorded some of this footage for me. She had no prior training from me on how to use my gimbal prior to this, just me talking through what to do at the time that she needed it. So the weather is holding up relatively at 19 to 20 degrees. I've got the car fully loaded with everything that we need, as well as the AC on how cold we want it. So this is very much like a real world family trip simulation. About 68 miles into the trip, mostly A roads, we use 15 kilowatts of energy to get here with a consumption rate of just 225 watt-hour miles, which for those not familiar with what that means is roughly how much energy you're using per mile. So the lower the number, the more miles you'll eke out of your battery capacity. 225 watt-hour miles is pretty competitive considering the high speed requirements of dual carriageways, the weight from extra luggage, and usage of aircon. No compromises were made, but even so, I was expecting about 250 watt-hour miles, being conservative. This figure will consistently change until we actually stop at the Thetford supercharger. For anyone familiar in the area, what is this monument out of curiosity? Once we get to the supercharger, I plug into the CSS connector to get the quickest speed available in order to minimize the time charging. The location of this charger was just off a dual carriageway, literally 2 minutes off it, and it's located next to an inn. These are V2 superchargers, but yet seem to be a very popular charging spot for Tesla owners. I saw multiple Model S and X's on the site as well. You really had some beautiful views from this charger if you wanted to just sit in your car. I wanted to actually stretch my legs and use the toilet facilities in the inn. If you go for a little walk, if you go left here, there's actually a footpath for which you could walk your dog, or there's actually a small park for the kids to burn off some energy, which is good to know. It's connected to the inn, but it was a hit with my daughter for sure. So what did the consumption figures look like when we stopped? So on this frozen frame, you can see we drove a total of 95 miles with a consumption rate of 224 watt-hour miles. I was a little taken back from that figure, to be honest. I also arrived with 44% charge. Going back to my Tesla navigation prediction, this predicted an arrival with 36% battery and a better route planner prediction of 40%. So both over predicted the energy consumption. So now we're in a better position than we expected. This means a cheaper charge unless you have free referral mileage, but ultimately less charging at the start. But as previously stated, I maximised battery availability for this run. However, my trip back to Leicester will be more speed related, so don't miss out on that return home video. If you see the time driving as 4 hours, that is incorrect. I was in the car around that time resetting the trip A column, so the timings hadn't fully been tracked properly for this simulation. Finally, the trip page is displaying an estimated arrival of 70% battery availability at my next destination, which is plenty of charge for daily errands and getting back to the supercharger on my way home. And we are off again. A quick look at the driving stats. Looks like after 34 miles we're achieving a higher consumption rate of 264 watt-hour miles, a lot closer to my original prediction, but out from the previous run. So what's the difference? Is it average speed or just elevation? Either way, the trip tab is now predicting we'll arrive at 71% instead of 70%. Is that actually achievable? As we're approaching the destination, let's run through the final figures. Since supercharging, we racked up 56 miles with lower consumption rate than initially anticipated at 242 watt-hour miles. This is still higher than my first stint, but much more lower than the beginning of the second stint. Overall, the trip racked in at 150 miles and averaged 231 watt-hour miles, which I was really impressed with considering the extra weight that I had and I didn't make any compromises on comfort. We also ended up at our destination with 70% charge remaining, which was right on the point with the Tesla navigation prediction. So to conclude, this trip would have cost me £7.60 from the supercharger and £2.33 from home charging, but thankfully I have some referral mileage available, so the supercharging was absolutely free and my grand total was £2.33 to me. But even if I did pay for that, that trip would have been under £10. Electric driving is ridiculously good value. If you're interested in purchasing a Tesla, don't forget to watch my 12 key tips to know before purchasing a Tesla Model 3. I will explain how to get your free referral miles too on that video in case you're curious. Yes, we did need to stop and charge, but this was a much welcomed wee break and an opportunity to stretch our legs and keep the kids entertained. The extra charging done here also allowed us not to have to consider charging whilst on site. So with a little planning, even with a Tesla Model 3 Standard Range Plus, which has a smaller range capacity, road trips are still entirely possible. I myself rarely do these long trips, but I do actually have a couple lined up over the coming months. I still have a few questions unanswered, like, will the aero caps make difference, because I never actually had them on at all during the road trip. How much will the temperature affect consumption? Lots of questions, but still I hope this was useful to you. I have recorded similar footage for the journey home and I will release that in the coming weeks. I will cover how quick we charged and the overall journey time including charging. Spoiler alert, I didn't actually charge for that long. Please don't forget to subscribe, like the video and share it with your friends and family. I really enjoyed doing these Tesla vlogs. The support is hugely welcomed. Thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next one.